Hey, this is Fish on a Heater, and I'm going to talk about Quagsire in Prismatic Cup. I'm going to specifically take a look at some teams, some Pokemon that you can put it with in a team of 3, and take you through some battles and some specific matchups against other popular meta Pokemon. I want to thank JD for helping me with the practice battles that we are about to see. And let's get into it. The first team I want to look at is, well, we all know what... It's Quagsire's a mud boy, right? So we all know what mud boys do. They only have one weakness, and that is grass. So the first team I looked at was Quagsire with double flyer, the classic ABB line. Now, there are other things that beat grass, such as fire or ice, but the reason I've gone double flyer here is because if you look at the team builder, punch in Quagsire and look at the biggest threats. So it's a lot of the stuff that you would expect there. So Chestnut, Meganium, so grass, 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 grass. Then you got a fighter here. Then grass, 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 fighter. Snorlax, it's got a fighting move, but that's mainly lick and body slam, so we can forget that. Lanoon counts as grass. Then you got fighter. And grass. You got fighter and grass here. Grass, grass. Then a few that don't fall into either of those categories. Then you got fighter again. Grass, grass, grass. So it also does pretty poorly against fighters. And the reason for that is that with Stone Edge and Earthquake, Stone Edge is resisted by your fighters, so you're having to rely on landing the Earthquakes to win those battles. Obviously, Mudshot's not doing much either. So, having two flyers there will help guard against the fighters and the grasses that would threaten Quagsire. Let's take a look at the battle. Look at that, he's in his pajamas and everything. So, exactly what I mean. So, we've lost that lead. We are bringing a Drifblim out. Now, I just noticed that Hypno is Shadow, which is not allowed in Prismatic Cup, so don't follow JD's lead here. If you're going to use Hypno, use a regular one, or risk disqualification from the tournament. Well, probably not disqualification, but you just won't be allowed to use your Hypno. So, this is a video about Quagsire, but we do want to look at all the different types of matchups that you're likely to come across. Drifblim and Hypno will be a pretty popular matchup in Prismatic Cup, so I'm going to look at that one. And Drifblim wins. It looks like it's winning. That's really interesting. I don't think I've seen this kind of pattern before. It's Drifblim is winning the 0-2, the 1-2, and the 0-0, which is interesting. So I'm going to assume that means that a Drifblim Shadow Ball will not KO a Hypno, but a Hypno Shadow Ball will KO a Drifblim. What's actually more likely is that the Shadow Ball from Hypno is not KOing the Drifblim, but the Confusions are doing the rest of it. So 65% from Hypno, 67%. So the Drifblim is doing more damage with its Shadow Ball than Hypno is, but yeah, it's those Confusions doing 17 damage in between. Hex, even though it is super effective, is only doing 7. It's a much weaker damage move. But yeah, we generally win. This is with baiting though. Let's see what happens if we take out baiting. If we just go straight Shadow Ball. So, okay, so Hypno is now winning the 2-2. And the 0-1. So, you can go straight Shadow Ball, but if Hypno wants to shield twice, then it's going to win. You have to land at least one bait to make sure you win the 2-2. And in this situation, okay, so you've lost the hard counter. Sorry, you've lost the lead with a hard counter. You have to make sure in those situations that you win the safe switch matchup. Because if I, for example, lose this, I have to send out either my Quagsire or my Talonflame. If I send out Quagsire, then once that Hypno goes down, Whimsicott's coming straight out again. If I send out Talonflame, I've got to hope very badly that they don't have a counter for Talonflame in the back, otherwise just my game is over. So I have to make sure that I win this matchup and control the rest of the matchups moving forward. So I did go straight Shadow Ball. Might even help to start with the Icy Wind if you want to go that route, just so those confusions do a little less damage. I do go for the second Shadow Ball, so Hypno has to shield this or my Driplim's going to lose. And luckily for me, it doesn't shield. So now Lantern comes out, and exactly what I was talking about. Like, if I had lost with Drifblim and sent out Talonflame, that Lantern was coming out, and I've got no hope. Quagsire, luckily, is a much better matchup against Lantern. We can look at... Now we can actually look at what you paid for, which was Quag versus... let's go Lantern. Now, normally... Quagsire wins quite comfortably. We're winning every situation except for the 0-2. So that is the Lantern landing a Hydro Pump and a Thunderbolt, and having to shield twice. The Thunderbolt's doing 24% damage, which I guess is enough. Yeah, we want to look at the 1-1. How much is a Stone Edge doing? 34% damage. Earthquake is doing 77% damage. And we've got one shield left apiece. So by that logic, there is no way that the Quagsire can win. Also, the Lantern's been debuffed on attack. So let's look at how that works. No difference. Apparently. Cool. So we're pretty comfortable here. I shouldn't have actually shielded. And now out comes the Whimsicott again. I tried to go for the farm down. Probably unnecessary because those moves are not going to do much to a Lantern. A tweet from the Pokemon account. It's fine that my Talonflame goes down here. Now, I fired that Stone Edge one Mudshot too early. I needed to build up to the Earthquake first, because if my opponent JD had recognized that I wasn't quite up to an Earthquake yet and elected to not use their shield, I'm in a little more pain. You saw how much a Hydro Pump did before. Did you see how much a Hydro Pump did before? No, we haven't seen that yet. You're going to see how much a Hydro Pump does to this Quagsire, because it's not the highest ranked Quagsire. It's I built it all the way back in Rainbow Cup in Season 1. I didn't have a better ranked Quagsire at the time. It's ranked like 900 and something. So the Hydro Pump actually does more than, what did we say, 50 something percent? It does, oh, that's 44. That's debuffed. It does a lot of damage. So if my opponent hadn't shielded, then suddenly it's a much closer game. Those mud shots are doing 4 damage apiece, so that's around 2%. And so from this position, the Stone Edge, what did we say it was doing? 34% damage. So at a really rough guess, you're looking at like one Stone Edge and 8 mud shots to finish off the job. Which, you know, that allows the Lantern time to get to a Hydro Pump at least. So I needed to absolutely wait for the Earthquake, just to make sure that my opponent did use that shield. Luckily, they used it anyway. And you can see how much more that Hydro Pump is doing to a low rank Pokemon. A bit of lag there, but now we are definitely in Stone Edge range, so we can do that because we've fired, you know, more mud shots at it, which has kind of chipped away at its HP. So we ended up winning that one by controlling those matchups for as long as we did. So that is team number one. Team number two, looking at Quagsire, Wormadam Trash, and Hitmontop. Wormadam Trash is another Pokemon that is not a flyer, but can beat both grasses and fighters. Obviously fighters with that confusion damage, and grasses with that excellent typing of bug and steel. It doesn't actually quite beat the grasses as badly as some of those flyers do, like your Drifblim and Talonflame, because a lot of those grasses have weapons that they can use against Wormadam, like Jumpluff has Aerial Ace, which, yeah, not a good move, but it can hit back at Wormadam for neutral damage. Meganium's got Earthquake, Tangrowth has got Rock Slide, which is a good move. So there are ways that grass Pokemon can fight back against Wormadam. I added Hitmontop in there just for some neutral damage. It's a really good generalist, and I just wanted to chuck something in there and see how it worked. So let's check out how this went. And again, we're losing the lead. So Meganium, obviously, we don't want to stay in there against the Meganium, and now we get Hitmontop. Now, this is obviously, you know, Frostlass is not going to want to get hit by Stone Edge. So using that shield, and we opt to shield here as well, I believe. Yeah, we do. Because this is where these battles were done during the whole 30-second switch timer period. So I felt like I could catch the next charge move and save this Hitmontop. If Frostlass is JD's best counter for Hitmontop at this time, then that means that Hitmontop can do damage elsewhere in the battle. They don't want to send the other two Pokemon in against this Hitmontop. So what I do is I catch the Avalanche on the Quagsire, and I'm happy for Quagsire to go down here. This is Quagsire being a sack swap. So if you're wondering whether to use Quagsire in your Prismatic Cup, this is how Quagsire can turn into a sack swap. Doing one Stone Edge of damage actually makes a big difference, because now it's a lot easier for Wormadam to come in and do what it does. What I need to do though is burn that shield, because I know that Frostlass is still there, even though, you know, it couldn't KO the Hitmontop quite yet. It's still totally potent. So I need to get rid of that shield so I can start doing damage with those charge moves. Luckily, JD fired the Frenzy Plant without looking at what it was going to be first, which was great for me. Burned energy, and now Shiftry comes out, and luckily I protected that Hitmontop, and it can come back out and do some work. I do have to shield the Leaf Blade, which I definitely should have just fired my close combat straight away, because just like with the Frostlass, losing my defense, like getting the 2-stage debuff in defense, is not going to make a difference against a Shiftry. The Snarl is doing so little damage, and even if JD shields and then fires a Leaf Blade, like, I've got my shield there, I can still, like, a Leaf Blade's going to KO me if I don't shield it, whether I'm debuffed or not. So I should have fired my close combat before the Shiftry got out the Leaf Blade. just to place that pressure on them. So now I'll finally throw out a close combat. And they don't shield. So now you can see how much this Hitmontop is doing. So making sure it was protected was a really good idea. And now that's what I was saying about the Meganium having, or the grass Pokemon having weapons against Wormadam. So it hit me with an Earthquake, and that meant that it was well within kind of at least Shadow Ball range, but I think Avalanche range as well from the Frostlass. Might have been better to stay in with the Hitmontop and make them KO me with the Frenzy Plant there. Or they probably could have just farmed down the Hitmontop and then just had even more energy against the Wormadam. Either way, we're not going to look into that just because this is meant to be a video about Quagsire, but I am interested to see about that. And we can't quite get to that Iron Head in time. So Wormadam gets KO'd and then Hitmontop does as well. So that didn't work out quite as well. We weren't able to have that classic ABB structure that the first team had. Let's look at team number 3, which is Quagsire, Blaziken, and Ferrothorn. Now, Blaziken's obviously giving you that fire damage that can take on the grasses. Ferrothorn, why Ferrothorn? Because, you know, that's a Pokemon that's weak to fighters, where we established before that Quagsire is also weak to fighters, so why would we want a second Pokemon like that in there? Well, I was just taking a look at all the threats against these two. So Quagsire and Blaziken, still not getting a huge amount on coverage. But if you look at these, Whimsicott, Hitmontop, Hypno, Gallade, Gengar, Gliscor, Rainy Castform, Harrier. So if you take out the fighters, a lot of these Pokemon are weak to Ferrothorn. Togekiss, Empoleon, Pelipper, Gligar, I think loses to Ferrothorn. Milotic, Claydol. Yeah, so Ferrothorn seemed like a good option to put in there. So let's see how that goes. Alright, so there's that filthy Shadow Hypno again, and wow, we've gotten ourselves into a mirror match. Now, Thunder was the better move to go with in one of the previous cups. Whichever, I think it was Marsh Cup was the last cup that Ferrothorn was relevant in, and Thunder was the better move there. Here, you want Flash Cannon. There's not too many Pokemon that can resist Steel here. And not too many Pokemon that you need that electric damage for. The Flash Cannon won't be able to do just fine. So we get into this mirror match here. Swapping into... okay, no. I gotta explain. I had the Thunder there, obviously I didn't fire it. So what I was trying to do was... I was practicing trying to fire the Thunder without letting through another Bullet Seed. I was trying to deny a fast move. I still haven't worked that out yet. If anyone wants to give an explanation of how to do it, I've had a few people try and explain it, and I just have not gotten it. So help would be appreciated. But I'm very lucky that they didn't have a fighter. I'm also very lucky that I didn't use Quagsire as my safe swap. Of the three of these, I would say Blaziken's the best for a safe swap. The only reason I let it was just that I wanted to change it up. I didn't want to keep using Quagsire as the lead. I just wanted to see how it would work in other positions. So out comes Blaziken. They straight swap into Hypno. I straight swap into Quagsire. And so let's see the Muck Quagsire matchup. Because on the surface, this looks like it's a good one for Quagsire. So those sludge waves are going to be resisted. They're doing 33% damage. The Dark Pulse are doing 38. So Muck, of course, just wants to go straight Dark Pulse. Again, really good matchup for Quagsire. Looks like this 0-1 shield is IV dependent. We've got a Stone Edge, then an Earthquake. Stone Edge is doing 42% damage, and Earthquake is 97%. So if Muck gets hit by an Earthquake, it is done. Stone Edge, not as much, but that is still pretty punishing. And again, 4 damage for each mud shot, so probably like 3%. That's a wild guess. 3% damage per mud shot. Let's turn off baiting, see how that changes things. I think that was the same thing. Yeah, so what I'm learning here is that Quagsire just don't need to bait. Quagsire don't care about no baits. It'll win and lose the same shield situations either way. And yet we do go for the Stone Edge. I mean, okay, so even though head to head in a vacuum, it doesn't matter whether we use the baits or not, it can still help to use the baits just simply so that you've got more HP at the end of the battle to be able to use against the next Pokemon or something like that, so it absolutely can still help. Okay, so it is 4 Snarls to get to each Dark Pulse. So that is 12 turns. It is 6 Mud Shots to get to a Stone Edge. No, 7 Mud Shots to get to a Stone Edge. Because 6 Mud Shots will get you to 54 energy, Stone Edge is 55. So 7 Mud Shots to get you to a Stone Edge, which is 14 energy, 14 turns, sorry. So it is taking slightly longer to get to the Stone Edge, although it only takes 6 Mud Shots to get to the next Stone Edge, which is 12 turns. So in the end, kind of all things considered, you are getting to Snarl quicker, but to Dark Pulse quicker than you're getting to Stone Edge, but it's not kind of cut and dry. There are exceptions to that. But that means that if you're in a situation like this where it's just one more charge move will take the other one out, the Quagsire will generally lose. The Muck's going to win that race. However, if the Muck's really low like this, then you can potentially shield once more and then farm them down. Or catch a charge move. That's another option. But this isn't looking good. They've still got 1 shield, I believe. No, they don't. Okay. And I do. Oh, but those confusions are going to take me out first. So, at the moment we've looked at 3 teams, and the Quagsire Double Flyer has been, like, easily the best of the 3. What's team number 4? We're looking at Quagsire, Crustle, and Hypno. And you know what this would be? Crustle would be my grass counter, and Hypno would be the fighting counter. This is me just trying to look at different options, because as a grass counter, Crustle is not the best. It does have that X-Scissor for the super effective damage, and that does come pretty fast, even with the Smackdown fast move. But it's not the tankiest Pokemon, despite being just a big old rock, and it's neutral to grass moves, so it's not the best grass counter, but again, we were just, you know, throwing stuff out there, seeing what works. Crustle is also good against Talonflame, which is by far and away the most popular Pokemon in the red slot. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Here's battle number 4. And Honchkrow is an interesting one. How does Quag go against Honchkrow in the lead? Because obviously Honchkrow does not want to get hit by Stone Edge. So Honchkrow is winning that. Because a Brave Bird is doing 132 damage, or 80%. My goodness. And a Snarl itself is doing 6 damage. That is incredible. Look at that attack stat, 146. Unbelievable scenes. That's a doozy. Okay, so if Honchkrow has no shields, it's not going to be doing much. A Stone Edge is doing 110% damage, so there is absolutely no way that a Honchkrow is surviving a Stone Edge. So it has to get hit by a Stone Edge, but, you know, it's getting to those Brave Birds and Sky attacks so much quicker. So, it's interesting because I have to try and make sure that Honchkrow doesn't go in against the Hypno. I was very lucky. Hypno's a great safe swap in this cup. And I was lucky that I chose to use Hypno as my safe swap here, because I didn't want the Hypno going in against the Honchkrow, or all would have been lost. So I've got to try and work out how to beat it with these, with the Quagsire and the Crustle. And I hope that the Quagsire does it, because this is a video about Quagsire. I don't want this to go, well, I let Quagsire go here and then come in as Crustle to do the job for me. So I do shield, and it is a Brave Bird, so they're probably switching out. No, they're not. They're keeping it in, and now I throw in the Crustle. Look how much damage those Smackdowns are doing. That is incredible. And you could see there, I got in an extra Smackdown there as a charge move went through, so I'd opt to use my second shield here, because I knew that Smackdown's damage would register as soon as they threw the charge move, and there it is. So, Lucario happens to be the worst thing that I could see as a Crustle, because both the X-Scissor and the Rock Slide are double resisted. Both Steel and Fighting resist both types. Crustle is good against anything Fire. It is not good against anything Fighting. So I catch a Power-Up Punch, and I know that the Honchkrow is gone, which makes Hypno safe. I can switch that just fine. Now, Zangoose was something I did not expect to see. I like a Zangoose. I like it in this cup, and I encourage you to look into Zangoose. And now I switch out to the Crustle, and I'm fine to take this charge move. So now out comes surely the Quagsire, because the Hypno is going to be so much better against Lucario. And my switch timer is not up yet, so I have to fire this Earthquake, and luckily for me they have no shields left, so that is just that gone. And you could see, yeah, I mean that Lucario was never going to survive an Earthquake. No, what am I doing? Earthquake is doing 151% damage to a Lucario, so because I managed to burn those shields and I had a decent energy lead, that Quagsire can just finish the job there. and then it's happy to go down here. I don't think it even does go down, but at this stage I've got to bring the Hypno straight out because the Mudshots are probably not going to farm it down, and that would allow Zangoose to come out with some energy of its own. I did manage to get up to a Stone Edge, and that kind of saves the day. So that kind of quick, it's a pretty quick Stone Edge, and that comes in clutch in a lot of situations, as you just saw. So final team is, I brought Talonflame back. I went with that double flyer strat. It's the best thing we've managed to come up with, and this time instead of Drifblim as my other Pokemon, I went with Gliscor. It fills the same slot. They're both purple, so you can you use either one as your purple Pokemon. Drifblim, I mean, they both have advantages. Drifblim is a well, I was gonna say it's a better safe swap option, but Gliscor is a great safe swap as well. Gliscor is of course only worried about ice and water, essentially. It resists electric, it's neutral to grass, it's a decent counter to your grass users, and it's a good counter to your fighters as well. Just like Drifblim is, so it's really kind of personal preference. What's ranked higher? Let's go rankings. Whoops, rankings. Prismatic Cup. So this is between Drifblim and Gliscor. What are we going to come across first? Drifblim and Gliscor. Drifblim, Gliscor. Drifblim, Gliscor. Have I missed it? There's Drifblim, 27. Where's Gliscor? There's Gligar. I've got to have missed it. Oh, Gliscor's number 12. There you go. And Drifblim is number 27. Key wins, Hypno, Talonflame, Flygon with that Icy Wind. Flygon is double weak. Hitmontop and Blaziken. Also, Drifblim will beat Gliscor. Losing to Lantern, Snorlax, Probopass, Crustle, and Shiftry. Now, I would wager my account that Gliscor will beat Drifblim. Gliscor will beat Lantern and Probopass. It'll potentially also beat Crustle. Maybe Shiftry as well. Let's see what the key wins are there. So it's beating Hypno, beating Lantern, beating Flygon. Still beating Flygon. Interesting. It does beat Shiftry, beats Blaziken, which Drifblim did as well. Losing to Talonflame, losing to Drifblim, loses to Lucario, Munchlax, and Dragonite. So look into it. They've both got advantages and disadvantages. Gliscor is the higher ranked. That might make a difference. Anyway, this is meant to be about Quag. Let's get back to Quag. He's getting impatient. Alright, so back in the lead again, we catch a Raichu. Now we've obviously got to watch out for the Grass Knot, which Grass Knot is 50 energy, I believe. Yeah, Grass Knot's 50 energy, Volt Switch is 16 energy, so it's taking 16, 32, 48. It's 4 Volt Switches for a Grass Knot. I'm gonna want to catch a Grass Knot with Talonflame, but then my Talonflame's locked in against a Raichu, so it's kind of not a really handy situation. How much does Stone Edge do to the Raichu? Stone Edge is doing 57% damage. Earthquake is just taking the bloody thing out. Mudshots are doing 2 damage, which is a little under 2% each. Let's call it 2% among friends. So to get to a Stone Edge, you're doing So it's taken you, what did we say before? It's taking 7 mud shots to get to your first stone edge. So 14, 15. So with the mud shots and the stone edge together, you're doing around about, oh, let's just say 70% damage to the Raichu. I did manage to catch the move and get an Incinerate in, which on a 5-turn move that gives you 20 energy, that is a lot. And I do catch the Grass Knot, so that is just absolutely fantastic for me. I don't know why they switched out. What is it? Second move Psychic? I don't know. You wouldn't be running Grass Knot Psychic as your Raichu moveset. So I am letting this go. Because I know I can get another charge move out before going down. So that's a big deal. I can either take this Munchlax out or burn the second shield. And obviously, I mean, that was an absolute win-win-win for me. Because I knew I was going to survive the Body Slam. I knew I was going to get to another Flame Charge before going down. So I can either burn their second shield or take out the Munchlax. And the final thing is, if I do take out the Munchlax, that Talonflame is so low on HP that the Raichu can only get 1 Volt Switch worth of farm into it. So win, 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 all around. And now out comes Gliscor, which even though those wing attacks are not very effective, I've decided that this is a better matchup for me to be in. The Grass Knots are going to be neutral here, and I'm resisting any electric move it might have. Ugh. And the Night Slash from this range will absolutely one-shot KO. And I got the attack boost. So, and my opponent has used both their shields now. I remember this now. Gliscor was just the star of the show here. I'd managed to burn the shields. Quagsire burned a shield first. And then the Gliscor burnt the second shield on the Raichu. So Quagsire didn't actually have too much of a part to play, mainly because that Raichu happened to be a very good counter or check to my team of 3. But again, Quagsire, Double Flyer, a very potent trio in this cup, and one that you absolutely should take a look at for your own teams. Let me know what other Pokemon you want to see me cover in a meta video. I'm happy to do some battles with friends to showcase other Pokemon that people are interested in. So if you do want to see how a particular Pokemon does in Prismatic Cup, let me know in the comments, and I'll take any kind of popular ones and do that. Make sure to give this video a like. Just a really quick little click of the button will help the video get discovered more, and make sure that, you know, I get something from spending my time doing this. These videos actually do take a lot longer to, I mean, it took a long time to watch. I know that. So recording the video takes even longer, like having to do the battles, you know, set up the screen, and you don't care about any of this. Just click the like button and suggest what other Pokemon you want to look at, and I will see you in the next video.